Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to AriesEDC. We are visiting my collection again, and we're just going to do some random knives that I picked out of the collection to talk about. So let's get into it. All right, the first one I want to talk to you about is one that I think everybody should have in their collection. This is the QSP Penguin, and this one happens to be the denim micarta version of the QSP Penguin, and this thing is really good. This one happens to be in D2, and it is a very cheap option for someone entering into collecting knives. I think this is a great price point. I believe they're under $30 or right around $30. I know they are very budget oriented, so if you are looking for a great knife in a great budget, this thing is definitely on the ball for that. And I think that goes without question for a lot of people agree with that. It's a great 4 fingers, got jimping at the top, nice blade shape. Actually, and I've been honest about this, this is an inspirational knife to me because it inspired the blade shape for the rock hopper, and then I took the handle and turned it into something else. But so I was inspired by how popular the QSP Penguin was, and that's kind of where the rock hopper came from, because the rock hopper is a type of penguin. So I didn't want to completely rip them off. It is a very different looking knife, but the blade shape is the same. But this is the denim micarta version. It's not bad. Some people have bashed it, but you know what? I really like carrying it. I just wish it was a different steel. D2 is not something that I can really use at work or anything else, but this is definitely one that everybody should have in their collection. The QSP Penguin, it's a really good one to have. So let's see what else I got. Next up is a Bestech. I was on the hunt. So at one point in time in my collecting, I wanted to get one knife from every major maker, and Bestech was one. And I saw this and I was like, wow, yeah, I got to get that. It's a little bit big than I normally do, but it was a great option. What this is the Bestech Texel. And again, this was when D2 was like the steel to get, and I had gotten it in D2. And this is a really great blade shape. I love that blade shape. You can really get into opening boxes. It has a nice belly on it to cut. It has the two-tone in the blade, where the flats have that kind of acid etched look, and then you have the swedge at the top. The bevels look nice, and you'll see that it does have some staining on the blade, because that's one day at work with me. And unfortunately in D2 it got a little water and some chemicals on it, and it stained the blade, which is fine. I just don't carry it to work. And this is something that really doesn't end up in my pocket too much, more than it probably should end up more. It's got the nice G10, the red backspacer on it. Really cool knife. Excellent action. It is just a flipper, and I wish it had like an opening hole or thumb studs or something, but there's really not that much room to do that. But the Bestech Texel, another budget blade. I don't believe these are too terribly expensive if you could still get them, but the Bestech Texel is another one that you guys should probably check out if you're just getting started in the knife world. Next up is two blades from SOG. We're going to talk about this one first, and this one can just stay over here. This is one that I purchased. This is the SOG Terminus XR, and with their XR lock, which is basically their bar lock. One thing that's interesting on this, when you pull the bar lock, the blade kind of pops open, so you really got to be careful when you're being fidgety with this, because when you do that, that blade pops out and it'll catch you on the hand. But it is a flipper bar lock. It has the thumb studs, which are very useful. It is a very fidgety blade. This one has the, I guess it's been called the cheese grater clip. I don't really have any major issues with it. It is an interesting design that comes all the way through. You can see that I don't play. This thing I put to work. This has gone to work with me several times, and I don't have any issues, even though, again, it is D2, but it has that nice stonewash finish. And this thing is, I really like the Terminus XR, and they come in different steels and different colors and all the other things, but this is a SOG that I decided to get, again, when I was saying I want to get something from all the different companies, and it was time for me to get the SOG. This is a nice budget option from SOG, especially now in D2. It's probably a lot cheaper than what it was when I first got it, when D2 was the steel to have. But it is very smooth, and the action is great. I know not everybody is a bar lock fan, but this one was one of my first bar locks I had gotten, and I really, really like it. So the Terminus XR. And this was gifted to me. Somebody sent this in. So this was a very nice hashtag DSKFS by somebody who's amazing. He just decided he was going to send this to me, and it showed up, and I was very pleasantly surprised. This is the Stout FLK, the SOG Stout in FLK. Again, Cryo D2 from SOG. Nice budget option. I don't know much about this blade because it was gifted to me, so I don't know how much it was or anything else, but for such a small little knife, I can get 4 fingers on there very comfortable. If you're gonna do a forward choil for your finger, that's how you do it right there. I can get a full finger in there, and I'm not even close to that edge, and I'm still far enough away where I'm not worried about getting cut. Nice jimping up here. I like the finish, that nice acid etched tumbled finish that they have on here. It is a frame lock, so you got to keep that in mind. It is flicky. The frame lock is a little hard to get into, and the bar is, you really got to push on it, but man, this thing is good. And I like the jade. Some people don't like the jade. I'm a fan. I really like this thing, and I wish it ended up in my pocket more than it did. I do find it interesting, the secondary choil or the sharpening choil, how it gets so thick up here. Basically what that means is the steel was thinner here than it was up here at the tip. It got a little thick, so when they were sharpening it, it ended up pulling that back and making that sharpened edge. But it is sharp. And I guess that just means it's thicker in the tip. So if you're really puncturing stuff, you can really work that tip and do that. But I'm not one that does really hard stuff on my knives. They're really not meant to cut branches and to do some of the stuff that I see people doing. But this was a very nice gift from me. Again, the SOG Stout FLK. Next up is 2 CRKTs. We'll start with the one of the more popular. So I used to have a Pilar 2, or Pillar 2, or however you want to say it. I ended up selling that, but I still have the Pilar 3. And again, this is in D2. This is the D2 version. Frame lock, and they did a good job. I remember the Pilar 2 had this double detent thing where I figured out that if you went here and then you pushed on this part of the blade, you could push it down on the flipper and then you can get it into your finger. Where they improved on that on this design, and it's stretched that blade out a little bit. I like the design. Your finger gets right in there. Again, nice big front finger choil for your finger. You can get those 4 fingers on there. It's really, really comfortable in the hand. G10 on one side, you got the steel on the other. It is a frame lock again. Not deep carry pocket clip, but it has the nice bent clip with the recessed screws and hardware and everything else. You can see that, but you're still going to be that much out of the pocket. So you're going to have, if you do put a lanyard with that nice copper backspacer or brass backspacer, you're going to have that. I have carried this a bunch. You can see the blade has been stained a little bit just from one day at work. Yeah, my work is very difficult on blades, which is why I try to get stainless, but that was when D2 was the thing to get. And again, I fell into that. But D2 is a great steel. It's just here in Florida, I deal with a lot of rust, etc. So I have to be careful when carrying this. If I do get it wet, to dry it off immediately. Maybe I need to oil them a little bit more. I like the stonewash finish that they did on that, and it's just kind of like one of those blades you kind of have to experience from CRKT. They do some really, really cool stuff. So I'll keep that one right there. This is the CRKT. Oh, what is this? What is this called? I forgot. The CEO. This is the mini CEO in blue. And when I bought this, this was kind of on the list to get. I was working in the office, and knives really wasn't something you should be carrying with around on you at that job. So I would throw that in my pocket. And because of its design, people thought it would be a pen or something other than a nice slim knife. This thing is really, really slim and great just for little packages and that kind of stuff. The access to the lock bar is not really great, even though they have milled that opening. It's really kind of difficult with my big thumb to get in there and really do it. But this knife isn't really something you're going to be really digging in there and doing a lot of. For what it is, you got to think of what that design is. But on top of that, I bought this because all proceeds buying this knife at Blade HQ went to the St. Jude's Children's Hospital, which was an amazing, amazing charity, and I was very happy to buy this to make sure that money went to a good cause, which it did. So check it out, Blade HQ, the blue CEO. I don't know if that is still going on, but I don't. At the time I purchased this, all proceeds went to St. Jude's Hospital, and this was in my pocket a lot when I was doing my managerial office work, and a lot of people never knew I had it. They all thought it was a pen of some kind until I pulled it out to open up a package or an envelope or something simple. This thing was great. So just a flipper, nice small little slim package. You would never even know. Nice deep carry clip. You can put it up in your pocket, in your shirt. Nobody would even know the difference. They would just think you had a pen. So very, very cool options from CRKT. And I wish I had more of their blades because they're doing some really, really cool stuff. And last but not least is a Spyderco. I have 3 Spydercos. I guess we could talk about all of them. I've already talked to you guys about my Delica. And I got my Dragonfly for a specific reason, because this is the H1 version. So I spent a little bit more money. This is, I think, $79, somewhere around there, in H1, because for work, like I was just telling you guys, this is not going to rust, and maybe at night might not hold an edge really well, but it's easy to just resharpen it, put a nice fresh edge on it. And the Dragonfly is one of those shapes where you look at it and you're like, that can't be comfortable, and then you get it in your hand and it like melts. It's like it was supposed to be that way. See, and that's kind of the way Spyderco does it. Same with the Delica. You look at that shape and you're like, that's a weird shape, I don't get the hole, I don't get, and then you get it in your hand and you're like, oh, I get it. It fits in my hand. Yeah, and that's exactly the same for something small like the Dragonfly. It's an excellent little small blade. This is all I really need on a daily basis. It's got jimping up here at the finger choil. It's got jimping right there on the spine, which is great, and on the plastic, the FRN plastic, which has plenty of grip on it. That grip that they put in there, but right in here is still nice and smooth for your fingers. So you can really, if you're here, which is where I always am, you got your thumb back here on that leaf shaped blade, your finger right there, and you're just, even your pinky gets right put there, and it's everything you need. You get almost a full grip. And it's such a small little knife, but it makes sense once you get it in your hand. It is a back lock, and you can still do it one hand, so I can slow roll the blade. Some people can flick it. I can thumb flick it out. I can't really reverse flick this being that. Here, I can try, but nope, not gonna happen. But this thing is an amazing little knife, and nope, never had any issues with it rusting. I know if it's gonna be a nice rainy day, I can just throw that in my pocket and I don't have to worry about it rusting or getting wet or anything else. I can throw it in my pocket and go, and I know that this is going to be just fine. You can tell on the clip that it's been in my pocket a lot. I do use this quite often, and it's a very fidgety blade. I'll just sit there and spin it like this while in the car. I'll just get that thing spinning like that in the car. It's pretty fun. But yep, so I have the Delica, I have the Dragonfly, and I have, which was a very big purchase at the time, the Para 3. But I'm going to talk to you guys about the Para 3 in a later video, because that's kind of not in the same category as these two, right? This is kind of a step up from what Spyderco is doing. Well, there you have it, guys. Just a random pull from some of the collection. I think on the next one, I'm going to be focusing on maybe one or two brands, because then we're going to start to get into multiple knives of brands, especially something like Civivi or Kaiser. I have a handful of those, CJRB, so I'll do more at one time. But I hope you guys enjoyed this one. Please subscribe, like, leave a comment, or not. That choice is always yours. Thanks a lot, guys.